So guys, welcome back in our stream. This is our the reathon stream that you can guess or also assume. Also for the new stream because recently we have a lost and that halfway while we reading because there's someone just walked in my room and I'm just like I'm scared the most and that scared and took me another level and that almost I did shut down my laptop immediately. I don't know my brain reflects like this when the someone is coming in my room. And I don't know what is the reason behind why my brain and my body doing this thing when someone walked in a room eventually, suddenly. So just before that yesterday, I think yesterday we are talking and I mean we are the reading about the cop the lesson 13, I guess the 14. So this lesson is about the elon versus the entire board of the s.com. When earlier in 2000 there was some conflict is going on within the company X.com, that PayPal. You can actually understand that how the Elon mindset is does work at the time when he lost entire quality from his company. Like he was a lost almost a CEO position when he went to honeymoon with the Justin. Then later he came back to office and just 5 days later, then yelled on then he yelled on the Lurchin that who is a co-founder. So the Lurchin said, "We don't know exactly what to do, but the board removed you from the CEO as a position." So maybe Elon was right there that he didn't do anything, and even he not being abusive from by the verbal. So Elon doing and did right, and then we see and then we have learned about the malaria. When Elon had the first malaria in his life, he nearly got a death. So let's see the from the malaria topic. I guess there was some crucial moment that Elon was feeling a more. Let's see. Yeah. So let's resume our reading section that we have missed. Okay. Oh, bro, who is watching me? I guess welcome back on our stream. I'm actually going to read my book. This is my book that I'm reading every day. If you wanted to the some of the entertainment from me, though you cannot give. I mean, you cannot take from me because I'm not an entertainment person. I'm just like to be reading this book here. This is the Elon Musk by the Walter Isaacson. I hope you will stay here to hear my reading. I'm improving the vocabulary as a day by day by reading this book. So let's go. If you can stay here, you can stay. So let's start from the last paragraph of the our recently left and remain a topic that malaria. So the head of the human resources at the S.com went to the visit the mosque in the hospital and sought out his health insurance, and he was actually only hour from the death. The executive wrote in an email to Thiel that Anna Luchin, his doctor had treated the two cases of the falciparum malaria period treating the Elon. Both parents die. Patients die. Um, Thiel remembers that he had a morbid conversation with the HR director after learning that Musk had taken out a behalf of the company. Keyman life insurance policy for the 100 million. If he had died, Thiel says all of our financial problems were going to be solved. Oh, it was typical of the Musk or outsized personality to take out such a large insurance policy. We are happy that he survived and that gradually everything everything tracked for the company, so we didn't need 100 million life insurance policy. Must remain in intensive care for the 10 days, and he did not fully recover for 5 months. He took two lessons from his near-death experience. Vacation will kill you. Also, the South Africa, that place is still trying to destroy me. This is almost 100% right that when you take a vacation on a right situation, I mean a wrong situation, like the entire board of the X.com and PayPal was doing right now the work at the point, but just meanwhile the Elon went to the honeymoon with the Justin Musk, his wife, and then he came back from the honeymoon. Then everything's going very wrong with him because he got a suddenly malaria from the eventually case. Then later he got admitted into the hospital, and almost the entire board of the X.com came to the hospital, and they almost went to the hospital to res- to sort out the health insurance. Then they almost saved Elon from the death because he nearly is hour from the death of his entire life. So maybe also from blessed for the, I mean, they did a really good work because entire board was really right, but they also not right about the Elon character, that they say they think Elon is a outside sized character, means like when the person is going to be very crazy and doing everything without understand the safety measure. Like he is a risk taker, he don't know the safety measures, he will do anything until he don't get as failure. So the failure is uh, also like a bomb, also hit you with harder than the success. Maybe when you get a success happiness, so you will not feel a more happy, but but reality, and but in a reality when you get a the emotional hammer from the failure, then you will feel a very deeper than happiness, because the deeper feeling in your heart is craved like permanently. So the failure must be come over, but don't be go away from the failure if they come into you. So that is the reason why we should not take a vacation on a wrong time. So that's the way. Okay, we are almost on a 14 chapter of this thing. So let's find. This is our we are just starting a new chapter of this book. Is is called the Mars. I guess this chapter is about the Elon Musk vision that it began with the Mars dream. Let's find out. Here we are got beautiful image of Elon and Peter Thiel. No. Adio Rezi. So I guess Peter Thiel, but I was wrong. He's Adio Rezi, who is a friend of Elon Musk. Let's find some thrilling about this story. The flying, okay? After this ouster, the front PayPal must bought a single-engine turboprop and decided to learn how to fly like his father and grandfather had done. In order to get a pilot lesson, we needed a 50 hours of the training, which crammed into 2 weeks. I tend to do things very intensely. He says he had an easy time with the visual flight rules test, but he failed his first instrument flight rules test. You have the hood on, so you cannot see outside, but you have half of the instrument covered. He says then they shut down all the engine and he had to land the plane. I landed, but instructor said not good enough to fail. On the second try, he passed. That him to emboldened him to take the crazy step of the buying a Soviet bloc military jet built in a Sagaskovskia called the Aero L-39 Albatros. It's what they use to train their pilots, so it's incredibly acrobatic. He says, but it's a bit dicky, even for me. At one point, he and his trainer took it on a low altitude flight over the Nevada. It was just like a Top Gun. You are no more than a couple of 100 feet above the ground, following a contour of the mountains. We did a vertical climb upside the mountain, then a turn upside down, then flight uphill to his daredevil journey. uh, it also they helped him to visualize the aerodynamic better. It's not just a simple Bernoulli principle, he says, as the launches into the explanation of the how wings lift a moving plane. After the about the fly 100 hours of the flying in a L-39 and other planes, you gotta be bored with it, but the allure of the flight remains. So this about the when Elon started his dream to fly with the both two turboprop single engine. I mean the single engine plane, two single in turboprop, and decided to how to learn to the fly. Okay, so he was learning to fly in his earlier age in 2001. Then he bought another plane from the Russia. That was a fighter jet. Then he flew them into over the Nevada, which was almost 100 feet of above the land horizon. And then they did climb up like we ever saw in a Top Gun Maverick. So that scene almost recreated in a Elon Musk life. So that he did in that point means instructor and everything that he was training at, he almost got passed. So let's see the another thing. The second topic is the red planet. Means Elon Musk is about the Mars. That how we can colonize entire Mars by manufacturing and create the rocket. The one, so on the Labor Day weekend of the 2001, the soon after he had recovered from the malaria, Musk went to visit his party path from the Penn and Adio in the Hamptons. Afterward, they're driving back to Manhattan on the Long Island Expressway. They talked about the Musk would do next. I have always wanted to do something in space. He told the Razy, but I don't think there isn't anything that an individual can do. It was too expensive, of course, for the private person to build a rocket. Or was it? Exactly what were the basic physical requirement? All that was needed the must figure and was metal and fuel. Those didn't really the cost that much. By by the time we reached the midtown tunnel, Resi says we decided that it was possible. When he got to his hotel, that evening Musk logged into the NASA website to read about its plan for going to Mars. I figured out that had to be soon because we went to the moon in 1969. So we must be about to go to Mars. When he could not find his schedule, he rummaged deeper on the site and until he realized that NASA had no plans for the Mars, he was shocked. In his Google searches for the more information, we happened across an announcement for the dinner in a Silicon Valley hosted by the organization called the Mars Society. That sounds cool, he said Justin, and he bought a pair of the $500 tickets. And in fact, he's ended up in sending in a check for the $5,000, which caught the attention of the Robert Jobin, the society president. This Jobin sat the elon and Justin at his table, along with the film director James Cameron, who had directed the space war thriller Aliens as well, the Terminator and Titanic. Justin sat next to him. It was a big thrill for me because I was a huge fan, but he mainly talked to the Elon about the Mars and why the humans would be doomed if they didn't colonize other planet. Most now had a new mission, one of that was Laugh Tide. Then the launching an internet bank of the digital yellow pages. He went to the Palo Alto Public Library to read about the rocket engineering, started the calling the experts, asking to the borrow their old engine manuals at a gathering of the PayPal alumni. In a Las Vegas, he sat on a cabana by the pool reading tattered the manual for the Russian rocket engine when one of the alums, the Mark Wally, asked him what he planned to do next. Musk answered, "I'm going to colonize Mars. My mission is in a life to make a mankind multi-planetary civilization." Walter's reaction was unsurprising. "Dude, you are bananas." The Reddy Hoffman, another paper veterans, had a similar reaction. After the listening, the monk described his plan to send the rockets on a Mars. Hoffman was puzzled. How is this the business? He asked. Later, Hoffman would realize that Musk didn't think that way. What I didn't appreciate is that Elon starts with the mission, later finds the way to the backfill in order to make it work financially. Uh, he said that is what makes him the force of nature. Almost this is great because when I heard the director James Cameron was sat next to his wife and also in the front of the Elon, and James Cameron is almost talking about the colonizing Mars. And I just wonder about that how the people was there to understand every factor of the goal. Elon had a very, very complex goal that anybody cannot be understand. Like you can't understand how to colonize the Mars. You will think this crazy boy also think about the fantasy that it will never happen in reality. But in a reality, if you go in a step by step to understand the every factor that you cannot be do, sorry, every factor that you can collect to reach to the Mars by resources, by connecting a people, making a team, by making a base where the rocket will manufacture. Then later you will have the first prototype, which would be your test vehicle. Then you will test it. If the vehicle got a passed, then you will make a refined product. Then the product will go into the final manufacturing. Then later it will going to do the against a final test flight for ensure and verify the vehicle is really right about its the entire own design. And when everything got passed again, then the man rating for the vehicle will be verified soon as possible to the vehicle. This is a right direction that ever took by the SpaceX when the earlier development of the Starship. I know everything. I even didn't read and I didn't even read the much about the Starship, but I know the factors that would be happen that would have to be happen there. Like just this crazy man, like how the Elon is thinking that way. I'm really like I got a goosebumps in my body when I was reading this thing. So let's see why Elon wanted to achieve the Mars goal, why he wanted to make the mankind multiplanetary in this century. So let's learn. Yeah. Why? It's useful to pause for the moment and note how wild it was for the 30 years old entrepreneur who had been ousted from the two tech startup to decide to build rocket that could go to Mars. What drove him, other than the aversion to the vacation childlike love rockets, sci-fi, and hiker's guide to the galaxy, to his bemused friends at the time, they're constantly in a conversation over the unusing, I mean, ensuing years. He gave a three reasons. He found it a surprising and frightening that technological progress was not inevitable. It could stop, it could even the backslide. America had gone to the moon, but then came the grounding of the shuttle missions, and in the progress, do we want to tell to our children that going to the moon is the best we did, and then we gave up? He asked. Ancient Egyptians learned how to build pyramid, but then that knowledge was lost. The same happened to the Rome, which built the Eric, aqueducts and other wonders that were lost in the dark ages were the happening to the America. People are the mistaken when they think that technology just automatically improve. He would say in a TED talk. A few years later, it only improves of a lot of people work very hard to make it better. Another motivation was that the colonizing the Mars planet will help to ensure the survival of the human civilization consciousness in a case something happen to our the fragile planet. It may someday be destroyed by the asteroid or the climate change or nuclear war. He had become fascinated by the Fermi paradox, named after the Italian American Enrico Fermi, who in a decision of the alien in a universe said, "But where is everyone?" Mathematically, it seems illogical. There were other civilization, but the lack of the evidence raised an uncomfortable possibility that the Earth's the human species, there might be only example of the consciousness. We have got this daylight candle of consciousness flickering here. It may be only the instance of the consciousness. It's essential we preserve it. Musk says if we are able to go to other planet, then probably lifespan of a human consciousness is going to be so far and greater than if we are stuck on the planet that could get hit by the asteroid and destroy its civilization. His third motivation was more inspirational. It came from his heritage in a family of the adventurers and a teenager that moved the country and that had bred into bred into the sense and the spirit of the pioneer moved to the country that yeah, the United States is literally a desolation of the human spirit of the exploration. He said that is a land of the adventurers. That spirit needed to be rekindled in America. He felt, and the best way to do that would be embark on a mission colonizing Mars. To have the base on the Mars would incredibly difficult, and people will probably die along the way. This happened in a setting of the Mars. But it will be incredible inspiring. We must have the inspiring things in the world. Life cannot be merely about solving the problems. He felt it also had to be about the pursuing the great dreams. That's the what can get us up in the morning. The faring other planet would be must believe one of the significant advances in the story of the humanity. There are only the handful of the really big milestones: single-celled life, multicellular life, differentiations of the planet's animal life extending from the ocean to the land, the mammals, consciousness. He says on that scale, the next important step is obvious, making the life multiplanetary. There was something the extra So exhilarating and also a bit unnerving about the immense ability to see his endeavors to having the epoch-making significance. As a mass slave chain that really puts in a one day Elon's greatest ability to pass off his vision mandate from the heaven. This is the thrill of the nature in his Elon character, that he take everything seriously and he wanna complete everything seriously what he ever take. So this nature always take the Elon Musk on the higher position, higher table after the having a much failures. So but in the case of we are trying to the extend ourselves by reaching on another planet because our consciousness is cannot be a stay on a cannot be a stay in a single planet who will who will be destroyed by the asteroid soon. So maybe we have to move out from this planet to expand our presence in the throughout the universe. So maybe that is the reason why we are moving to the Mars, why we are moving beyond the stars, why we are moving on other planets that we explored earlier. So let's learn a second thing is Los Angeles. I think Los Angeles is about the Musk decided if he wanted to start. Yeah, is about the SpaceX reborn. I mean the born. Let me drink the water. Musk decided that if he wanted to start a rocket company, it was the best to move to Los Angeles, which was the home of the most aerospace company, including the Lockheed and the Boeing. The probability of the success for the rocket company was quite low. It was even the lower if I did not move to Southern California, where the critical mass of um aerospace engineering talent was hidden. Explained the move to the Justin, who had thought it was because he was attracted to celebrity glamour of a city because of their marriage. He was eligible to become the U.S. citizen, which he did in early 2002, oath-taking ceremony with the 3,500 other immigrants at the Los Angeles Country Fairground. Musk began gathering rocket engineers for the meeting at a hotel near the Los Angeles airport. My initial thought was not to create a rocket company, but rather to have philanthropic, the philanthropic, the philanthropic mission that would inspire the public and lead to more NASA funding. His first plan was to build a small rocket to send the mice to the Mars, but I became the worried that we would end up with the tragic comic video of the mice slowly dying on a tiny spaceship. That would not be a goal. So then it came down. Let's send a little greenhouse to the Mars. The greenhouse would land on the Mars. They send the photographs of the green planets growing on the red planet. The public would be so excited. Their event that would be the clamor of the missions, but proposal was called the Mars Oasis, and Mars estimate could pull it off less than 30 millions. He had money. The biggest challenge was getting the affordable rocket that could take us the greenhouse to the Mars. There was it turned out place where they might be able to get a one cheaply, or so he thought through the Mars Society must heard of the rocket engineer named Jim Cantrell, who had worked on a US-Russian program decommissioned missiles. 1 month after he Long Island expatriate idea must give the Cantrell call. Cantrell was driving to the Utah with the top down on his the convertible. So I could make out that some guy named Ian Musk was saying he was a internet millionaire, needed to talk to me. He later told the Esquire when the consul got home was able to call him back. Musk explained his vision. I want to change the mankind outlook on being a multiplanetary species. He said, "Can we meet this weekend? Can't win a leading a clock or and a dagger alive cause of dealing Russian authorities he wanted to meet." Oh well. So in a safe place without the guns, he suggested that they meet in a Delta Airlines Club. Salt Lake Airport must brought a Resi and they came up with the plans to go Russia so if they could buy some launch slots or rockets. This was a moment when Elon went to Russia to buy the rocket with his plan, but later that happened very crucial with him. He don't know what is ahead of him, but the Tantrale is was not a good guy. Even the entire board wasn't a good people. They almost did a very crucial thing. So let's see what they did with the Elon. Okay, before we see like the Rocket Man, let's see what they did. This is the control, and this is a dinner and meeting. Yeah, beautiful. Rocket Man, SpaceX 2002. When SpaceX was formed the first time after the failure from the Russia. Okay, the lunch in the back room of the drab Moscow restaurant consisted of the small bites of the food interpressed with the large shots of okay, vodka. Vodka. Musk had arrived that morning with the Adio Rezi, Zim Cantrell, on their quest to use the Russian rocket for their mission to the Mars. He was a rake. He was a rake after the late night of the party during the stopover in Paris. Plus, he was not an experienced drinker, so he didn't fare well. I calculate the weight of the food and weight of the vodka. They were roughly equal. He recalls after the minute toast to the friendship, Russians gave the American gift of the vodka bottles with the labels that had each person image of the rendering of the Musk, who was holding his head up with his hand passed out and his head slammed into the table. I don't think I impressed the Russians, he says. That the evening slightly recovered Musk and his companion with another group in Moscow, the purported to be selling the decommissioned missiles that encountered that turned out the equally bizarre. The Russian in the chart, the missing front tooth. Whenever they spoke loudly, which was often the speed, would fly out the Musk direction at the one point. Oh my God! The front tooth. Whenever spoke loudly, when was a Musk? Speed would fly out in the Musk direction at a point when started talking need to make a humus multiplanetary Russian got visibly upset. The rocket was never meant to capability to use it for the going to Mars on a bullshit mission. Oh my God! He shouted. Oh, who's your chief engineer? Must allowed that he was. At the point country recalls Russian speed damn. Did he just speed us on us? Must ask. Yeah, he did. Control answered. I think it's a sign of the disrespect. Despite the clone show, the Musk Cantor decided to return to Russia in early 2002. The Rezi didn't come, but Justin did. So did the new member of the team, the Mike Griffin, aerospace engineer who later became administrator of the NASA. This time the Musk focused on buying two Danforth rockets, which were old missiles. The more he negotiated, the higher the price went. He finally thought he had a deal to repay the 18 million for the two. But then later than Paris, but then they said it was 18 million for each. I'm like, dude, that's insane. He says Russians suggested maybe it would be 20 million each. They taunted him, can't recall. They said, oh little boy, you don't have this much money. Ho 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 ho. Savage, bro, savage. Russians are were savage at the point. It was a fortunate that the meeting went badly and it dropped dead. Must think the bigger rather than the merely using the second-hand rocket to deposit demonstration greenhouse on a Mars, he would reconceive the venture that was far more audacious. One of the most audacious of our times, privately building the rocket that could launch satellite and then the humans into orbit, eventually send them to the Mars and beyond. I was a pretty mad, and when I get mad, I try to reframe the problem. Oh my God. The Cantor and Elon, the history, went to the Russia and they were shot. Then the board of the entire game, who is sitting opposite of the Elon, where they going to deal with the rockets that they wanted to buy. Uh, this rocket, the Danper rockets, means the two missiles for the 18 million. So, but they said this missile would be sold each for $21 million. But before this deal, they almost had spit out on the Musk and Control. So because of this was a disrespect on his face. And then the one of the member replied to the Control that the oh little boy, you don't have the money, okay? This is just like a taunt on Elon that Elon don't have the money at the time. Just understand the situation when the single person are telling you, I mean, when are the single person are like saying you on your face that, oh boy, you don't have the money, you cannot buy the rocket and you cannot do the bullshit mission on the future. So what your reaction would be? You would be very angry, you would be out of the control. But Elon stay cool, he don't care. Let's say later. The first principle. He is a thinking mind. He is also working on a first principle law. It's the analogy. Analogy is a different thing. So let's say, as a history about the observed, while the Russians wanted to charge his employers of the some principle thinking, drilling down the basis physics of the situation, building up from there. This led to him to develop when he what he called the Elliott index, which calculated how much more costly finished the product was than the cost of the basic material. If the product had a high immediate index, its cost could be reduced significantly by the devising more efficient manufacturing technique. Rocket had an extremely high immediate index. Musk began calculating the cost of the carbon fiber, metal, fuel, other materials that went into them. The finished product using the current manufacturing method cost of at least 50 times more than that. If humanity was going to get a Mars, technology of the rocket must radically improve, relying on the used rocket especially uh, old ones from the Russia, was not going to push the technology forward. So on the flight, Musk on the flight home, he pulled out his computer and started making a spreadsheet and detail about all of his material, a cost for the building the mid-sized rocket, Control and Griffin sitting in a row, behind with him, ordered the drinks and laughed. What the hell do you thinking that idiot Seven doing up there? Gripping us control must turn around and gave them an answer. Hey guys, he said, showing them the spreadsheet. I think we can build this rocket ourselves. When the control looked at the number, he said himself, I be damning, that's why he been so boring of all my books. Then he asked the flight attendant for another drink, a SpaceX. So here's SpaceX. When the Musk decided the bond of the SpaceX. When the Musk decided he wanted to start his own company, his friends did not want the true friends do in such a situation. They staged an intervention. Oh dear, I got screwed by the Russians. Doesn't equal create a launch company? Ideologists told him the Resi was the highlight reel of the dozens of the rocket blowing up. He called a friend to the fly in Los Angeles where they gathered and must talk him about of the outfit they made me watch a reel of the rocket exploding because they wanted to convince me that I would lose all my money. Musk says the argument about the risk served the strain to the most result he liked the risk. If you try to convince me this has the high probability of the failure, I'm already ready, he told the Resi. The likeliest outcome is that I will lose all my money, but what's the alternative that there be a no progress in a space exploration? We have gotta give this a shot. We are stuck on the Mars. Earth forever. It was rather the grandiose mandate from the heaven assessment of how indispensable he was the progress of the mind humankind, but like the many most laughable assertion, it contained the kernel of the truth. I wanted to hold out a hope that humans could be a spacefaring civilization. We are there among the stars, he says, and there was no chance of the unless a new company was started to create a revolutionary rocket. Musk's adventure had begun the non-profit endeavor to the aspire inspire the interest in a mission to the Mars. Now he had a combination of the motivation that would mark his career. He would do something audacious that was driven by the grand idea, but he also wanted it to be practical and profitable, that it could sustain itself. That meant using a rocket to the launch commercial and government satellite. He decided to start with a smaller rocket that would not be too costly. We are going to doing dumb things, but let's not do the dumb things on the large scale. He told the Cantrell instead of the launching the large payload rocket and the Boeing did Musk would create a less expensive rocket for the smaller satellite that were being made by possible by advances in the microprocessors. He focused on a key uh, the metric what it cost get to the Mars pounds of payload into orbit. That goal of the maximizing the boost of the buck would guide the obsession within increasing thrust of the rocket engine, reducing the mass of the rocket, making them reusable. Must try to recruit the two engineers who had come and him in a Moscow, but Mike Griffin did not want to move to Los Angeles. He was working in the Cradle CIA-funded venture from the base in the Washington D.C. area. He was going to the promising future in a science policy. Indeed, our President George W. Bush appointed him to the NASA administrator. 2005, the Gene Candle considered joining, but he asked a lot of the job guarantees that Musk was unwilling to him. Musk ended up being by the default the company chief engineer. Incorporated Space Technologies in May 2002. At the first, he called the company by its initials, SET. Few months later, highlighted a favorite later by the moving the more memorable moniker. SpaceX, its goal, he said, the early presentation was to launch its the first rocket by 2003, sent to the unmanned mission to the Mars 2010. Thus, the continued tradition he had established, set in the unrealistic timeline, transformed his wild notion from being completely insane to being merely very light. Well, Well, we have done. We have almost done. Like Elon Musk created his spaces company finally in 2002. Then later he gathered the two engineers from the Moscow where he went to in early, but they are not coming to him. But then they decided to call to the Cantrell, the Jim Cantrell was finally moved to the Elon, but he had some questions over that the he has the guaranteed over the job because Elon Musk is unwilling to guarantee over the job. He wanted to complete his mission, and he thinking in that way. I mean, in that situation, he would send the Mars. He will send the payload to the Mars by 2010. But we know that we are not yet the go to the Mars. So it's still that is showing the how the Elon is taking a risk. Everything is a risk there. Don't be scared up by risk if you ever got from your failure. So bye everything, bye everyone. I will be meet you later in another stream. This is our this is our thumbnail for the I mean 8th and ninth stream of the stream. Yeah, love this book. I'm reading almost 100 page in this like 5 and 4 days. So guys, bye. I will literally meet you later.